The biggest real estate news ever was just dropped that no one knows about. Nobody knows about this. Now they're getting rid of all appraisers. All appraisers. They've been around since 1920s, 1930s, doing the work for the bank, representing the bank's best interest, going out there, defining value, and to protect the borrower from purchasing a property to make sure that the value is there. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're buying a house in today's market for $500,000 and the traditional 20-25% down payment that's required, you put $100,000 in cash down. Well, the bank wants to make sure that there's that $100,000 in margin in the deal because they're going to put up the $400,000 to help you purchase that property. Well, now they're going to be getting rid of this. Instead, what they're going to be doing is moving into a Zillow-like atmosphere with desktop appraisals. So you'll never meet an appraiser. If you're selling your home or you want to buy a home, you're never going to meet an appraiser and pick their brain and provide comparable homes in the market so that they are educated and knowledgeable because every market's different. I've seen throughout my career, I was a real estate agent in Beverly Hills for a decade. You cross one street, the valuation can jump 10 or 20% or 30%. You cross another street, it could drop by 10, 20, or 30%. Every neighborhood is so unique and so different, and there's so many moving parts, and they're bypassing all of that. So if you buy a home and you renovate it and you give it the nicest finishes, spend $20,000 in a bathroom or $50,000 in the kitchen, you do an incredible job, they won't know that because they're doing a desktop appraisal. That's what they're doing. So they're moving to this new method. And what is very fascinating to me, very interesting to me, is the CEO of Zillow 6 years ago had a home and they said it was worth $1,750,000. He ended up selling that home for $1,050,000. So in that situation, if you were to sell for $1,050,000, the buyer would have had to put up, $250,000, 25% or 20% down, right? So they put up the $200,000 or $250,000. But if they believe that it's worth $1,750,000, he would or she would have to put up the $750,000 to bridge the gap from what they believe the house is worth versus what it's actually worth, plus the $250,000. So you might have to put, $850,000, $950,000 down as a down payment. But what's fascinating here is that in the past, what would happen is if you bought a property or were attempting to purchase a property and you had a discrepancy, let's say that the appraisal came low and you're saying, you know what, I'm challenging this appraisal. Here are the comps, here's why I believe it's worth this, and they would take that information and review. However, this new model, it's going to bypass all of that. And why are they saying that they're doing this? Well, they have some very interesting positions on why they say this is happening. I'm going to provide these facts to you, let you take this information in. I'm going to provide the details on which properties these are going to relate to and how this is going to change the entire real estate market. Please smash that like button. If you hit the like button, YouTube's going to share this content to educate more people about what's going on in the real estate market, personal finance, and the global economy. So please hit that like button. Let's begin. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to launch remote desktop appraisals in 2022. When does this start? It starts tomorrow, March 19th. Fannie and Freddie will accept remote desktop appraisals nationwide on eligible transactions without the appraiser ever stepping foot on the subject property, the Federal Housing Finance Agency announced. Fannie and Freddie will accept desktop appraisals created with information from existing sources such as appraisal reports, multiple listing service data, and public record data. With this amount of power, this allows them to control the housing market. They can set prices, they can set everything, and everyone's gonna have to play by these rules. And how much of the housing market does Fannie and Freddie own? Well, 62%. 62%. So if the majority of the housing market is gonna be set by two parties, really one party, well, what would that do? What would that look like for the remaining 38% of the market? Well, the other 38% is going to take into consideration the amount of risk that they're going to assume by not following Fannie and Freddie. And because of that, I believe that they're going to fall in line, and this is going to be the entire real estate market. The property information needs to be from a participant or source who does not hold a financial interest in the appraisal outcome, right? Here are the eligibility requirements for this desktop appraisal. A one-unit property, not excluding those with an ADU, an accessory dwelling unit, or a granny flat, some would call. A principal residence. A purchase transaction, including new construction. A property with a loan-to-value less than 90%. and Fannie and Freddie Desktop Underwriter DU system to receive and approve or eligible recommendation. Ineligible transactions include 2 or 4 unit properties, condominiums, manufactured homes, constructions to permanent mortgages, construction to permanent mortgage meaning a loan, second homes, investment properties, refis, energy efficient mortgages, second mortgages such as community second mortgages, community land trust, DU, case files, manually underwritten mortgages. However, a majority of the real estate market is principal residences and 1 unit properties. People buying their home where they're going to live with their family. And this is why that they are saying is a very, very big reason why they need to do this. Appraisal bias, another long-term but newly salient challenge plaguing the appraisal industry is the racial appraisal gap. Racial appraisal gaps have made troubling headlines recently within the real estate industry. Racial bias within the appraisal process is now under scrutiny, thanks in part to a sea of reports that surfaced in 2020 on how non-white homeowners receive greater valuations after hiding personal items like photographs that identified the homeowner's minority status. In a common refrain among these reports, one family replaced all traces of blackness, including portraits, photo cards, even books by black authors, with those of a white family, and their home's valuation went up 40% on reappraisal. 40%, that is a huge number. Some of these boils down to the nature of appraisals. Appraisal in an inherently subjective practice teetering between art and science. Still, the reports illustrate a clear pattern of devaluation of minority-owned properties that too often hinges on who answers the door. Eliminating these appraisal biases is a growing concern that FHFA, who vows to promote equitable access to mortgage credit for all people and communities, including underserved communities. So that's why they're saying that they need to essentially get rid of 78,000 appraisals or appraisers. 78,000 appraisers are in America right now, and a lot of them now are going to have a hard time because what's going to happen? They're going to lose half of their business or more than half of their business, and so you're going to have a lot of appraisers fighting over a select pool of business. What are they going to do? They're going to have to bring their prices down to be able to compete for that business. Meanwhile, the cost of gas, food, everything else is going through the roof. So you're going to have a lot of people that are going to lose their job. They're going to lose everything. And they're moving in this direction. It starts tomorrow. You know, this, I believe, is the biggest real estate news ever, simply because we go from a market where we're dealing with one appraiser, one bank, one mortgage broker, and now we are essentially going to have to, reach out to Fannie and Freddie, and they are going to take their data that they took from these appraisers, these multiple listing services and third-party providers, and they're going to assume any price that they deem fit. So if they set the price, let's say, for example, a $500,000 home, they say is $700,000, who gets hurt there? It's the middle class, because the big corporations will gladly go put down, the difference of $200,000 plus the down payment. They'll go put down $300,000. They don't care. They could refinance out of it if they wanted to later down the line. In this inflationary environment, what risk do they take being parked in hard real assets? That is the big problem here, is that all of this information, all of this data, and all of these decisions are going to be made under one roof. Under one roof. And it's all happening tomorrow. What do you think about this? Where do you see the housing market going? How do you think this could impact the job of a real estate agent, of an escrow officer, of the everyday American trying to buy or sell their home? All of these things are going to move around in one circular form. They're all going to move side by side and go around this globe in the real estate market, because the real estate market services the entire economy in America. You think about every job, construction, every job that, in the real estate space, which is, a large block of U.S. employment, is determined around housing. There's HVACs, plumbing work, roofers. All of these jobs could be greatly impacted by what they say a property is worth. What do you think about this? Drop it below. Hit that like button. If you hit the like button, YouTube's, again, going to share this content. Subscribe here. Consider subbing on my second channel. And on TikTok, I post 4 to 5 times a day on TikTok. Post content I won't post here. Go subscribe on TikTok, and I'll catch you guys later.